Hello, and welcome back to me recording this voiceover for a second time, because the first time I really messed up the audio. I shifted nervously, and I struggled, and you could hear it. And at some point, I covered the microphone. So that audio recording has died. I've killed it. I put it out of its poor misery. And we're just going to pretend it didn't happen from this point on. So here I am, trying to figure out the pose, struggling with the hand a lot, because it's kind of twisted, or it's like rotated. It's not twisted, it's rotated. And I was like doing that thing the artists do where like you hold your hand up and you're like, what is hands? How do hands work? And feeling stupid. But I feel like I figured it out. It looks a little tense. I wanted initially for it to be a bit gentler than it ended up being. Maybe because my reference was my hand, and I was a little tense. I was feeling tense, heavy and deep into the hand drawing process. I was feeling tense. But yeah, I was really endeavoring to like have a slightly more interesting pose. And so we're kind of looking down at her, like she's slightly lower than us and than the viewpoint that we are from. Because I feel like that just really makes for like interesting shoulders. Everything's kind of angled, and like it's interesting on the face, especially the eyes, because it makes the eyes look like they're partially closed, and they kind of are a little bit. Additionally, I was intending for her to have, slightly, she's also slightly looking down. She's looking at her hand, or rather, she's going to be playing with her hair. That's why the hand is there. So that's going to be relevant. Yeah. And here I am figuring out the eyes and making sure they match up. So this time, you probably noticed, I actually, I'm adding, the eyes are a little bit lighter than they were previously. Like, in general, it's lighter. Like, I'm using a more mid-brown than before. I was using, like, very, very dark colors that almost look black. And the reason is quite simply that you can't just do the same thing forever. I didn't want to do the same thing forever. You wouldn't want to see the same thing forever. I felt like the change had to happen. Also, I was thinking of color schemes, which was before I decided that I was going to use like brown. And I decided I wanted to go with like pinky or peachiers, because I mean, you gotta go with something, and my aunt's been leaving us peaches, so it's peach. So yeah, it's not deep. And then the eyes are lighter, because I knew I wanted to not have like the black eyes, because those characters are siblings, and they both have dark eyes, because they're siblings. They look alike. Wow. And then I realized I was gonna have to eventually figure out how to draw like lighter eyes in this style. So I decided that day would be today. Congratulations to me, I accomplished a thing. Like not figuring out where her pelvis would go. Pelvises are tricky. I don't want to figure that out. I haven't had to draw a pelvis in probably more than a month, honestly. So, yeah. I haven't drawn a scene in longer. But that's why I was doing things from a slightly tricky angle. Like a slightly tricky angle, but I figured this angle out before, so it's not that tricky for me anymore. But yeah, that's what I was going for. I wanted it to be visually interesting, but I also didn't want to spend like 15 hours on this. This is already almost 3 hours. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to live that kind of life today. I didn't sleep well enough for that this week. Like, I'm not actually tired. I don't know why I had to like sigh twice. I'm not upset. I thought of it. I thought of 15 hours of drawing, and I felt tired. I haven't actually done anything to necessitate it. It was a theoretical sigh. Like, even this time I had some issues. Like, there was a time, we're about to see me mess up in a little bit. Not yet, but I'm going to mess up. I'm going to turn off the recording because someone called me, and then it was a scam call, so I started drawing again. And I forgot to re-record, so I missed about 10 minutes. Luckily, I thought to check whether I wanted to do something, and I was going to stop recording, and then I realized I wasn't recording, which wasn't fun to figure out, but in the end, like, we basically just, like, lost, like, some of the eyelid finishing detail, which is not critical. I'm glad I figured it out. Unless I'd feel real dumb. I'd feel so stupid if I didn't figure it out. But we're about to see that when I start detailing the cheek. There's just going to be a moment where it changes, and it's almost, you can almost miss it because it's not that huge of a deal. Yeah. So, like, I mentioned earlier that I've kind of figured out this angle, but one of the things that always gets to me about this angle is that, like, because you're viewing from above, there's a lot of, like, forehead, there's a lot of top of the head. They're, like, they look like they have little tiny faces. And I'm always, like, doubting myself with that, because, like, I also do that not, like, sometimes stylistically I'll push the features down because it makes it look, like, childish, and therefore cute to our human brains. And I didn't want it to be a cutesy style, so I was like, oh, did I push it too far? Did I push it too far? But I don't think, I feel like it made sense for the angle. I don't think I did. Although it kind of tricks you into thinking I didn't, because, like, she has a lot of hair fluff. Like, she has a lot of, like, lift from the roots, because that's one of the charms of this hairstyle, honestly. It's, like, a lot of volume on one side and kind of not at all on the other. I wanted to, like, exaggerate that difference. And so that just made it look like she had so much head, but, like, no, it's scalp, it's not forehead. She's fine. I had to, like, stop myself and be like, don't be weird about it, don't freak out. Everything's going to plan, it's fine. I did briefly, in a little bit, you're going to see me achieve, like, my happy place when I start detailing her huge, glorious, fluffy sleeves, because there's a reason I draw them a lot. It's because I like drawing them. I like painting them. In related news, I do not like painting hands, but I've made it past it. I'm to the clothes and making my way to the sleeves. And I don't think I actually talked about this video so far, but what I do is I have a layer, like one single layer initially, and then a few detail layers over top of everything, and I just color pick and I paint. And that's how I go over the sketch and, like, get rid of the messier lines that I don't want, and keep some of them, because part of the goal of this style is to have somewhat more messy, like, lines and quality to it, because I feel like a lot of times the messiness, like, it's rough looking, but it adds a lot of, like, liveliness and movement, and, like, it just looks more vibrant, not color wise, but, like, feeling wise, if you let it be a little rough, which is, like, a major problem for me, because I am nitpicky. I'm nitpicky, and I have a problem with leaving things rough. Like, I love it in other people's art, and I'm trying to incorporate it in my art, but, like, previously, I have absolutely failed. So, doing my best. Yeah. I'm sorry I keep saying yeah. I'm stalling. So I'm adding some more like details to her eyelashes because she's looking down. I felt that it would really get that across more. That her eyelashes were going down, that she was looking slightly down, and that we were viewing her in that way. If you kind of moved the kind of eyelid color down. And, well, we're done. Hope you enjoyed. You can subscribe if you want to, stick around and see more, I guess. Well, goodbye.